Hello and welcome back to the show. It's the climactic Game 5 here between TSM and Golden Guardians. Golden Guardians were set for the 3-0 sweep, and then TSM took two fairly convincing wins in a row. And the question is, who's going to be better in Game 5?
The biggest question for me is what are the draft adaptations? Because I do think that TSM, it took them 5 losses in a row to do it to Golden Guardians, but they have changed things up. They're figuring out ways to get advantages through playing through Broken Blade, trying to pick on Hauntzer. They have figured out how to, at the very least, neutralize the bottom lane. It is not monumental advantages from FBI and huhi as it was in the previous series. And importantly, over the last 2 games, they have taken FBI off of a true carry threat. He has been locked on Senna, and it is the Caitlyn ban again. I want to see Golden Guardians ban Ashe. Please do not go to the same draft you just lost on, 3 times in a row. And they are not banning out the Ashe. It's going to be an Ashe pick, almost guaranteed for TSM. If Golden Guardians go to Senna again, I will be so disappointed, honestly. I feel like TSM have really kind of figured it out. Yes, Golden Guardians can, of course, beat them.
There we go.
Thank you. A different pick. It is not the Senate. This is something that is going to give you agency. Will TSM be able to adjust as far as the support pick to protect this Ashe? That is going to be the question, because with Kalista, especially if it is paired alongside something like the Thresh or the Leona again, that can be a very aggressive all-in style against the Ashe, similar to what Golden Guardians tried to pull off in the previous game, but with more lane agency, with more ability to snowball. And going back to the Nidalee again, despite the fact that it is going to be against the Volibear, more of a stable pick. This is the same first 3 from TSM last game, but I like the Golden Guardians champions a lot more against it.
Yeah, they've got some real frontline, which is important for the team fighting overall. You're not playing, squishy backline damage, which is what Nidalee's going to be doing a lot of here. I'm curious if Thresh comes through or some kind of different team fight answer. It looks like Kennen's going to be the pickup here. Wow. Still a magic damage team fight answer. Has some early bullying against Renekton because you're ranged, of course. That can get dicey in the mid game when he starts to get some more attack damage. But flank TP is going to be the name of the game for Hauntzer this game.
And we'll see how he can perform, because his last Kennen game, if you remember, was against CLG. He had a monstrously strong game, a 9-kill Kennen game where he absolutely ran over CLG. So he can be very threatening, and it is one of his most played. He is 3-1 on the pick throughout this split, so is tied, or at least was tied coming into this series with Mordekaiser and Renekton for his most played champions. Of course, he did play those, so those would be ahead now. Yep, but I'm really curious to see what the pairing is going to be. Is it going to be something new, something spicy, or is it going to be more of a standard, Thresh style pick? With the Morgana ban, I feel like that's a little bit weird for TSM. If you ban Morgana, then they can just go Thresh and you kind of self-ban the counter because they have the next pick. They may be willing to just go towards a Tahm Kench. And if you're okay with that, then sure, that's fine, right? You can go towards the TK and play that defensive style, but you will be ceding pretty much all control in that 2v2 if you're going to be playing with the Tahm Kench. The Lucian ban coming out, trying to target some of those solo laners. Damonte has brought it out in the past. We saw also Golden Glue playing it yesterday, so...
Okay, and they're going to blind the Syndra. They're going to wait on support and go for counterpick. With Morgana gone, I actually thought we were going to see Thresh. I thought we were going to see that come through and say, okay, we're ready to go. Like, Kalista Thresh, great duo. We can bully. You can play to us. Let's do this. Like, no. We're going for lane dominance in the mid lane. We're going to have magic damage deletion coming through. I think they're trying to bait Tahm Kench in and say, look, pick this against Syndra. It'll keep your teammate alive, and they want to bully a Tahm Kench in lane.
It's definitely possible. Zilean is unbanned, and Bjergsen's going to go right back to it. This is one of his most played all time. He is really well known for this, draws so many Zilean bans, has been monstrously good on it throughout his entire career. A 72.4% win rate across 29 games. He has a nearly 10 KDA as well. Bard is more kind of like, I don't want to get counterpicked, and if you're worried about the Thresh because you think they could go Tahm Kench and get an advantage, this does go okay. But my issue with the Bard compared to something like the Thresh is it doesn't really have the same kind of reliable defensive utility, right? And I think that TSM is basically saying we're going to depend on Bjergsen to be able to keep the Ashe alive. But the amount of dive that is here is really threatening in the 2v2. Bard plus Ashe, with Pantheon, or even if they went to the Thresh, I think Thresh is great. Like, this is a very threatening 2v2. You could easily die to this as either Doublelift or Biofrost. And if your bottom lane loses this game as TSM, there is not a Bjergsen Orianna to just like take over the team fights as far as the damage output is required. He's not on Azir. He's not on Orianna. Zilean needs people to buff up. He needs someone strong to make stronger, right? If you have this like little weak rat and you're giving him the res, it doesn't matter. He's just going to die again. So Doublelift has to do well in lane to kind of be that worthy target of getting buffed up and sped up and res, you know, if Golden Guardians do dive in and kill him.
And this is a matchup that's going to be interesting to watch for here. I would say Zilean is a bit of a counterpick into Syndra. We talked about Tahm Kench, where you see the ult come in, you chomp them away. Zilean just does that thing by ulting the target and saying, well, the damage is coming in, we're just going to revive them, we're going to trade ults, and that's going to be okay with us. The double bomb stun versus the Syndra E stun, you know, that's going to play out down the line, but you really can ruin a lot of the Golden Guardians playstyle. And what might happen here on this side is we kind of wait for the game to play out and wait for the players to load in and for us to get gameplay footage. Is how kind of AoE can the Golden Guardians team fight be? Because the single target, he's going to get revived by Zilean. Unless you chain stun Bjergsen from full to dead, whatever is getting targeted is going to get revived back to full HP. And if you blew 4 ults to 1 and got nothing, you lose that fight every time. But if the Kennen ult gets 4 people to 20% health, and then you're ready for the follow-up with the Hurricane Kalista, well, now Zilean saving 1 person doesn't matter. The teammates are dead. Double comes back up, and he's like, oh, I'm surrounded. Got it. Okay, I'm dead too for the second time. And so I'm very curious what the fights actually look like as the game plays out.
I'm also going to be super interested to see if Biofrost can pull off one of the really kind of strong defensive tools for the Bard against the Kennen, because you can prevent the Kennen flank by simply ulting him, right? If you can spot him coming in for a team fight and actually ult him before he can get in on top of your team, that can buy you time to create space and actually back up from that Kennen, disengage out. And you have to remember that similar to how the Caitlyn Bard combo works, you can do the same thing with Zilean. You ult someone and you drop 2 bombs on their head, they come out, they both immediately attach the same person, you are stunned, you take that damage. So if you do get hit as you're trying to fly in with the E on Kennen by that Bard ultimate, it is a very easy turn onto that guy.
I believe there's an interesting asterisk interaction here, because this is my recollection of seeing Bard, Zilean, Thresh in the same game. If you are Bard ulted and a lantern's down, if you're spamming right-click and you're in range of the lantern, you will grab it in time. I think you may still be stunned, but you will actually fly out. I believe that is like, there's just like the frame allowed to click that lets you in. But yes, I mean, you know, stopping the Kennen engage is going to be very important. I'm also curious if there's going to be a locket in this game who's going to buy it, because there's not a lot of good buyers for it, but it's really good against Kennen. Either way, we've got a lot to talk about in this game. It's Game 5 of this match, the last game of the weekend here for the LCS, and it's an elimination battle. The loser of this game is done. Their 2020 season is over. Between the 4th and 5th seeds of the LCS 2020 Summer Split regular season, TSM have not made Worlds since 2017. And it would be another year on that mark if they fail to close this one out. On the Golden Guardians side, they won their first playoff series ever 2 weeks ago against TSM themselves, and need to do it again to move on to face Cloud9 next weekend for the LCS's 3rd and final Worlds spot. Cloud9 awaiting the winner. We'll see if it can come through. We are on to the Rift.
It's just going to be so exciting, and I agree. There's so many different things I want to talk about.
I know.
We saw Spica have this incredible Nidalee game last game, but we talked about how Nidalee can look if you don't get ahead. Last game he got ahead. It looked incredible. Everything was going his way. We'll see if he can actually replicate that same success this time around. We also have the Bard W start, so he's starting the Healing Shrines, dropped all 3 for Bjergsen in the mid lane. It does equate to essentially, 225 health, thereabouts, maybe a little bit less off after the nerfs, maybe like 200-ish, but it's a health potion and a bit, so it is quite impactful if you can take some of those early trades. Zilean will be expected to get pushed in early on, and it can be actually pretty hard to farm on Zilean. As you do get more levels, it becomes pretty simple when you have more mana. You can just double bomb the backline and one-shot that, but the early laning does take quite a bit of practice to actually farm effectively. Bjergsen obviously one of the best in the business at playing this champion though, and then we just gotta watch this bottom lane, because FBI on Kalista, this champion is one that really can take over, that can dominate a game, and they have this kill style lane against the Ashe and Bard, who are going to be very much on the back foot, who are going to have to seed the push. So I want to see if with FBI off of the Senna, can he just run over this game? Can he get them that bot lane advantage and snowball the dragons and secure his team's spot in the next round?
It is, of course, the early game focused Kalista build, Hail of Blades. You sometimes see lethal tempo. Not surprised to see Kalista go for a lane dominant rune. You pick the champion to win lane. Thresh can do kind of all of it. Thresh is obviously very good overall as a champion, so we'll see if the early trades can go well. Doublelift is running Cleanse, because if you get hooked by Thresh, you're probably just dying to Ignite plus Kalista combo, so it makes sense there, even though you're not against an Ashe, as he picked it himself, but something to watch for. But it also means that his, bursty healing is going to be lower if there's ever a Kennen flank or something. But look at this. Top lane focus from TSM. They have pushed Hauntzer entirely off the wave. He is bleeding farm. He might let him get XP on the cannon. I think just barely walked in range of that one. Finally level 3, but so much danger, and he's still got to be afraid of this one. They're going to maybe go for it. Looking for a javelin maybe, finally sidesteps it, but Hauntzer is bleeding gold and bleeding XP from Spica pathing topside.
And I love that they didn't overcommit to it. We'll see if Golden Guardians actually do commit to this dive. It looks like they want to. They're TPing in. It's level 2.
The play we saw a game ago, is it going to be enough for the kill? It is! And huhi flashed out of turret range, but Closer is on the wrong side of this fight. He's going to be easily claimed. The Lantern! Oh! You gotta be freaking kidding me! Closer's gonna live! They get first blood, and Broken Blade TP down, so Hauntzer gets to get the lead topside.
Closer has single-digit health. That is insane. I'm not sure if they were trying to give that over to Ashe or not. Let's watch this one more time. This is level 3 on the jungler, on both the bot laners against level 2 here. So not a lot of ability to outplay. Biofrost not able to flash that, though. He does flash late and then goes down. And then did Broken Blade stop hitting him? Broken Blade missed the Q. So now he's just trying to guard.
He's trying to block the Lantern. Auto once.
Yeah, and he missed the slices as well.
He's late.
Oh, no. I think he just needed to actually go for the straight-up kill instead of trying to fiddle around with the Lantern there. If that Q landed, that is a kill. That is double buffs going over, and that is, maybe not worth it anymore for Golden Guardians. In this case, all that great work that they did up on the top side, zoning Hauntzer off of everything, is now kind of for nothing because Hauntzer has TP advantage and is up in farm. And now 3-man mid here for Bjergsen.
And Bjergsen's low on mana. Easy Sun going to land. Huhi going to go for the hook, and it's going to force a flash out of Bjergsen. Flashes the long way. Not going to go near Closer for a Q flash. That could have been a possibility if he went over the wall instead. So flash burned for the roam, and Golden Guardians. So many times in this split this year, they have had a great early game, and a lot of the times they have failed to close out. In the series against TSM so far, they have had some stumbles in the early game, but late game shot calling has not usually been their problem here. They know where he is, but slightly off. With the sweeper, Biofrost was spotted, didn't know it, and huhi sadly guesses a little bit wrong in the distance.
Very, very close there. But yeah, it's so interesting because, as you say, that has been their MO. Incredible early game, but maybe they're going to throw in the mid game. That has been the Golden Guardians that we have seen. And throughout this series, it has actually been the opposite. They have been losing the early games to TSM, and TSM in the first 2 games wasn't able to close out. It was actually Golden Guardians that had the superior playmaking and the superior execution down the stretch. This time, it is back more to that kind of standard play that you were expecting out of Golden Guardians. They have an early game advantage. We'll see what they can get done with it. Thankfully for TSM, the first blood went to the Thresh, so it's not nearly as bad as it could be. Bjergsen has the early catalyst completed. This is always a great item purchase when you're playing this matchup specifically. You do like to stack a little bit of health to just give you the HP to get through any potential initial upfront burst so you can survive to get that ultimate off. And Closer's down here again, so they may actually just be going for the rinse and repeat. He's spotted, but
Bjergsen no TP. Broken Blade no TP. Spica is right now on the top side of the map, so this is going to be a plate taken, and there is no chance TSM can fight for this. This is the exact same thing we saw happen to Hauntzer in the very beginning of the game, saying you are not allowed to play League of Legends right now. Get off the wave, lose the gold, lose the XP. Same happens now to Doublelift and Biofrost, the lane dominance you expect out of Thresh Kalista. And so far so good on this side, as Golden Guardians will knock down another wave. But now can you dive a second time? Because now Spica must have reacted to this. He must be nearby. Control ward spots Closer. Easy Lantern away. Plate number 2, 1 auto. Now keep in mind there's no Lantern to keep FBI safe, but there's no arrow for Doublelift to force the fight.
So this has got to be frustrating, though, for Doublelift and Biofrost. And Closer has definitely been paying a lot more attention to bottom lane in this series than Spica has. Spica has played much more top lane-centric style throughout this series. It has been working out for them. But as a result, there have been a number of times where Doublelift and Biofrost are falling down on farm, and Doublelift is having to seed waves, not because he's missing them or anything, but because Closer is there posturing. Closer has been really good with his pressure on the bottom side throughout the games, and really trying to play that role of a facilitator. He is not on the carry this time. He's going to be playing tank Volibear, so he's got to enable his lanes. That is his job, when compared to the Nidalee. The Nidalee needs to be super strong and power farming and doing all these things. Closer just wants to get the lanes going.
He's going to do so with the blue buff handoff right there as Damonte gets the expected pickup there. Going tier, so another Archangel's pickup here on the mid lane. Going for more raw AP. It's more burst overall. It's certainly more sustained damage in a team fight as you get multiple spell rotations off. And also it's more defensive. It's just a little bit worse on wave clear, which, to be fair, did get nerfed in the most recent Syndra nerf. So we may see that pay out in some ways as he can't keep the lane under control. Rod of Ages not too far away from Bjergsen, just needs the combined cost. Top lane shoved in. Hauntzer overall down a bit in farm, and that is with a TP out of the lane from Broken Blade. With him coming down to bot lane, Hauntzer is still going to be down in farm, and Broken Blade setting up a brush trap as well. Auto, Q, one more auto tries to get empowered stun. He's going to get this one soon, and that is big damage. Burns the ulti for this one as well, so Hauntzer has to ult for the stun, but he does not have a good way out of this one. Will finally walk away. Spellbook over to Ignite, burns that one as well, but Broken Blade taking a lot of map control.
Yeah, good job by Broken Blade, and since the TP is down, it's actually very worthwhile. He did lose an entire wave to do it. I wonder, I actually think if he just popped ultimate on his first auto, I think he actually forces flash. And that's something that, is fairly minor, but the rage generation as well as the AoE damage on that ultimate, Hauntzer was down to what? Sub 10% HP? I think that actually makes the difference in forcing out that summoner. He did pop the ultimate after using his entire round of spells. So as a result, not going to quite have the damage to get that out, but it's still a good play. He takes down a second plate up on that top side despite TPing away from lane. The pressure that Spica and him have been putting up there has been very, very good. So it's kind of just that split map style, right? Volibear puts his pressure down on the bot side, puts Doublelift behind, and Spica putting his pressure up on the top side, trying to put Doublelift behind.
It's a little bit of a battle of different styles here as we talked about the bot lane focus of Golden Guardians. 2 plates there, the first blood, the extra pressure to force some CS dropped, 11 CS difference here as we crest almost 10 minutes into the game. But similar on the top side, of course. Broken Blade a level over Hauntzer right now, 2 plates to himself. Though there's no kill on scoreboard, there was some jungle pressure from Spica to make that one a bit lopsided as well, and it means the gold is pretty close. 200 separates these teams. More farm from Spica in the jungle, level lead for him as well over Closer. Doublelift having to play the lane very defensively, doesn't have a support just yet. Volleys for 21 gold. Golden Guardian still trying to deny farm from Doublelift on the bottom side.
Yep, had to wait for Biofrost to get back. Biofrost not going for Swifties or Mobies, so very atypical on the Bard. You almost always will see that, but he feels like if he gets CC'd, he's going to die, so he's going for the Merc Treads here. More defensive option, less about the roaming, of course. Does get hooked up.
Merc Treads have a bit of value here as he flashed over. Could it be enough? Could it be enough? 2 more autos to get the kill picked up. Nicely done. Despite the Merc Treads, the CC chain is too much. Ignite goes over the top. Exhaust is not enough. And Golden Guardian's got another kill in the bottom lane.
TSM really misplayed that. The exhaust was super late. Doublelift never arrowed to peel. I'm a little bit confused, honestly, as to how they let that happen. I mean, great hook by huhi and good execution to actually get that kill, but that feels like that should not be a death. That should be a summoner force.
Well, it's going to be top lane first turret of the game. The Herald was picked up from top lane pressure, from mid lane pressure, and a lot of money goes over. TSM feeling really comfortable around top side. Golden Guardians feeling comfortable around bottom side. They've knocked some turret plates down. They will get this Drake as well. But top lane is still under fire. No one is bailing out Hauntzer. And this turret could fall as well. Plates are still on. Doublelift is in a 1v3. Here comes the bear. He certainly don't care. And Doublelift's health bar is gone. There is no way you should really be there, to be honest. And that's going to be a turret in the top side. A turret in the bottom side. It kills the bot lane. It's objective to the top side.
I mean, it's a gold lead for TSM at the end of the day, but the question is, can you get enough out of your top lane to make this worth it? I just think top lane is so much weaker in the general meta. They do force a flash onto Damonte. It's much easier to win a game off of a really fed Kalista than it is off of a fed Renekton, and that's kind of just how I feel about the current state of League of Legends. So we'll have to see if TSM can kind of disprove that. But that's really what it is, right? The gold lead is in TSM's favor, but the gold is in very different places. You're going to have Doublelift, who's kind of worthless on this Ashe because they're getting focused so heavily. He is getting killed off, and FBI is going to be mega strong.
300 gold difference in this game. Mid lane difference is a plate and 12 CS. Jungle difference is about 4 camps right now, but otherwise it is very stratified. Hauntzer is very far behind. Not missing a ton of XP, but well, to be fair, neither is Doublelift. As Broken Blade comes in for the play, he wants to kill FBI. Forces the flash right away. Re-engage not going to be very good either. Lantern not going to be much. A hook onto Bjergsen. I don't think they can one-shot him, though. They find the stun. It's not going to matter. He's got Merc Treads as well. Merc Treads on 4 members of TSM. If they can't be stun locked, they won't die. They've got Bjergsen to answer, so no problems there. A lot of summoners lost on the Golden Guardian side. A flashless Kalista is an easy target.
So Broken Blade making the roam, trying to spend his gold to put pressure on that bottom side because they took down both the top lane turrets. So it's kind of like, what do you do now as the Renekton? You're not going to be able to be safe pressuring the inhibitor tower at 13 minutes into the game. So he can push the wave or he can try to permanently freeze. I honestly think you're not going to be able to get much done on the bottom side until Dragon spawns. So I would actually prefer to see Broken Blade just set up a freeze and just hard freeze the wave up on that top side if he can and try to extend his advantage that way, because it is very difficult otherwise to kind of force your will on that bottom side, and then once the Dragon's about to spawn, then move down there and try to get something done with what you hope is this super strong Renekton.
Bjergsen cleaning out waves as best he can, and Damonte doing the same as the roam towards mid happens. Bjergsen TP-less, used it to get into the mid lane. Is going Glacial, by the way, so he's going to go towards some team fight setup over time. The big slow fields are going to feel pretty nice. A lot of slows on this squad overall, as the boots have not really come in for a lot of Golden Guardians. None at all on Closer. No upgrade for Hauntzer. But otherwise a mix down there. We'll see what comes through as 300 gold difference stays the state.
Look at Ashe right now, and he just has an uncontested push, and you can't actually siege onto Zilean. So right now, I don't really like the play from Golden Guardians because they've left a free farming Ashe to get turret damage and actually close the CS gap up a little bit. And meanwhile, they're doing nothing top because there was no Rift Herald up. You can't pressure Zilean really unless you can just one-shot him under tower. His wave clear is pretty much infinite. We'll see if Hauntzer can do anything to punish Doublelift here, but for now, the last little bit, definitely TSM got more out of that. Doublelift is still down in farm, but he is down much less. TSM looks like they want to try to pressure the mid lane turret. While now Golden Guardians do have FEI up on that top side. They're going to kick Herald. They're going to try to take that top lane tower down and continue injecting more and more gold into FBI.
And look what TSM is getting. They're going to walk forward. They're going to land the bomb. This is almost certainly going to be a kill. The bombs are down. Goodbye. Big damage there on Damonte. Has a lantern, but the bomb is on his head, and he's going to die anyway. And the mid lane turret falls all the same. You may have gotten a Herald, but what does it do but turret damage, which TSM already got in the mid lane. They're getting it in the bottom lane as well. Didn't even have the cross-map arrow. TSM at 15 minutes, playing better League of Legends.
Yeah, they're just moving around the map and getting way more. It's like, okay, so we talked about Renekton, he's your super fed player, and Kalista is your super fed player. Kalista is 1v0, right? Kalista is farming against minions up in the top lane. Ashe can do the same thing. Whether you're 0-100 or 100-0, your champion can still kill minions. And they're taking the power point that they had, TSM, and they're moving it towards mid lane. They're using the Renekton to try to tower dive, to pick off Damonte, and I've got to give credit to Biofrost because that was 2 straight ults in a row on Damonte. First got the flash. That time he didn't have flash, so they kill him off. They take the tower, and TSM getting a lot more out of this last little bit, trying to catch up Doublelift and trying to extend the lead elsewhere.
800 gold lead to TSM. See if they can keep that one going or how much the map can be split up. Have yet to see a team fight with the Hauntzer ultimate. Rift Herald summon into the mid lane, but Bard does not have ulti, so we cannot immune the charge. This will at least deal about 2,500. There's a flash engage towards Bio. The hook is just in time to flay as well. And a kill on the board and just in time because, hey, by the way, it's Drake number 3. Broken Blade has the ulti up in a few seconds, and he's on a flank position. Jungler is alive. Spica is there with a level lead to boot over the opposing jungler. Closer will have his work cut out for him for the smite, but thankfully Kalista's on the board here as well. TSM fighting over wards, but will they fight for the smite? They're going to try to walk around. Javelin's going to come in, not going to be contested. Drake number 3 in for TSM, sorry, for Golden Guardians, the other team here. And an Infernal Soul really fits the bursty playstyle.
Yeah, that is a huge pick on Biofrost. Got caught slipping in the river there. You know, TSM, I think, were strong enough, more than strong enough even, to really be able to contest that, especially because Hauntzer had actually gotten poked out. You know, he was relatively low, and without a stopwatch, if you fly in there at 40% HP on a Kennen, you're probably just going to die, because he was actually fighting against Renekton on the bottom side and got chunked out. But Closer flashes in, huhi immediate flash follow. Who else but huhi, pulling him out of the portal. Biofrost trying to flash back into it, gets flayed out of the portal again. huhi on top of things, and that gets them their third dragon. And that is why it can be so dangerous, you know, to play this more scaling style. If you do give up those early dragons and you make mistakes like that around the third and the fourth dragon, it can be devastating to your chances to win the game.
Well, as we saw, Dragon Soul can certainly be defeated. Now looking at Broken Blade. Now it's the Fed members fighting each other. FBI going to find a slow, going to keep going for the auto attacks. But without Rend, it's not the most damage on a low health champion, but the hook is perfect, and the Bard ult only hits 2. FBI was not gold, and Golden Guardians find their 5th kill.
Closer giving the thumbs down to his good friend Broken Blade as they take him down. They get the flash ult and kill off him. Very valuable there. TSM do strike back on the other side of the map, but it is going to be so concerning for TSM because one mistake around a dragon again, and that is going to be an Infernal Soul going over to this team. It's going to allow extra power, you know, into this Kennen, flying into the backline with that Infernal Soul, make FBI even stronger, who's already so far ahead. I mean, he's 20 CS up, but he's been getting all the kills critically here too. You know, he's got 3 kills with those killing blows, and he's going to be on 2 items very, very soon. If Kalista gets too far ahead and gets that 3 item point, you know, at a really good pace, you often just can't burst Kalista down. Like, you get to the Hurricane plus Death Dance, and you just start life drain tanking everything.
For sure. And we'll see if there's going to be enough damage to stop it, or if we can indeed just drain take Broken Blade, because Renekton with damage certainly can do a lot to a backliner. Hurricane done like that one. It's a fairly short range team on TSM. You're going to have Spica in melee range a lot. But I got to point out that the rough gold difference for FBI over Doublelift is about the same as what Broken Blade has over Hauntzer. Yep. In actual golden inventory, FBI is 1,000 over Broken Blade. Right, 7,900 to 7,000, that is a difference. That is certainly meaningful. He is the richest member in this game by a lot. He's got 1,000 over every teammate. In fact, 2,000 over almost every teammate. Damonte, you can see he's almost 2,000 below his teammate AD carry, but he's 1,000 behind Bjergsen. Like, this is kind of FBI versus the world. And sadly, huhi has 2 of those last hits. It's huhi with gold, which is not the ideal champ for this. So TSM still with an overall gold lead, and some of the Golden Guardians gold, not on the right champions.
But who else would you want that gold on besides FBI? So maybe FBI versus the world, but this is the man that can make it happen. He has made magic happen for Golden Guardians in this split. This has been their best year ever. Win or lose, it's just a fact. They have looked more competitive. They won their first ever playoff series. They're pushing TSM to the brink here, maybe going to eliminate them in this Game 5. And FBI has been one of the best marksman players in the league. It is an exciting time for Golden Guardians right now, and if you're able to make that carry play happen here against one of the legendary marksman players, Doublelift, that is extremely impressive. That is extremely rewarding for this guy.
Sure.
But Bjergsen is incredibly strong himself. We know how many games he has carried on Zilean, and he has a lot of gold himself here too. He's got the 2 items quickly. He has the Super Soaker. Hextech GLP now.
Oh, he's going.
He's looking.
He thinks it's a play. He thinks it's a flash and a chase down. Flash is traded on both sides. Double bomb coming back up soon. Ulti coming across, big stun, but not enough to get the kill. Sidesteps, Tempered Fate stays alive. If Bjergsen a bit low, makes ulti targets a little bit more difficult. Just weathering down that champion can be useful, but Nidalee's here for sustain. 50 seconds on Infernal Soul. Flashless Syndra, flashless Zilean. Syndra ult should be up right about in time to fight for the Drake.
And we'll see if the Syndra is going to be the more vulnerable of the two, because I do expect Damonte to be more at risk of actually, getting destroyed in that type of potential situation. If the Renekton can get on top of him and he has no flash, phase rush may not be enough to save you. While Doublelift isn't strong, you can just kind of turn your focus towards Broken Blade as Bjergsen and be speeding up and throwing bombs on Broken Blade to add the additional damage in there, reviving this really strong Renekton. But Broken Blade hasn't based in a long time, it feels like. So I imagine he has more gold than he has spent, but Damonte in trouble.
Finds a stun. They go in for Bjergsen here as well. Sees he going to come across, so it's not going to land. Here comes the teleports. Here comes the play. This could be the deciding moment because Dragon Soul could close it out as huhi walks in.
Hauntzer.
Lands in Hauntzer. Tries for the flay. Double force to run, but they're going to find 3 stuns. Bjergsen ults himself. How about the re-engage? They force out the Zilean ult. They're going to let him revive. Closer very low, forced to flash away. Can they find the re-engage? Ashe are going to land. Stopwatch buys time. Hook is going to catch Bard. Ulti coming across. They will knock down Bjergsen. 4v5 on the map. FBI low needs to find some raptors or some wolves to lifesteal off of, and he will do that. Again, 5v4 on the map. No flash, no TP, no ult. No way for Bjergsen to get back into the fight. If Golden Guardians have the health bar, they can take this Drake. There's even a single Ocean Drake for minor regen. Jumping over the wall. Smite up for both junglers. Level 12 to level 10. Spica favored. How about the ton? How about the stun? How about the blast plant over the wall? Can they force this one away? Hawkshot reveals the Drake is getting low. Again, Infernal Soul for Golden Guardians, and Spica lands the Javelin. They land! Oh, that is a troll ult. He's gonna kill himself before the smite! Biofrost, who are you working for? No chance at a spite steal, and Spica dies for nothing!
Biofrost just ulted the dragon as Spica hit the spear and was going in with the potential Q smite execute on what is the soul for Golden Guardians. What is that call?
You press tab and you ping that red circle next to Biofrost's name. Tempered Fate, 87, 86, 85, 84 seconds. Why did you cast that spell? Do you not have voice communication to say, I'm going for the steal, let me go for this one? There's a world where ulting first is better, and a world where ulting is not the play. They chose to do both, and it was catastrophic.
Yeah, that was rough, because I mean, he actually hit the Q, right? So he can pounce through that dragon potentially and just burst it down, but who knows? I mean, he might not have got in it anyway. Broken Blade, though, getting picked on in the side lane, and huhi looking for the hook. So this is going to be rough now for TSM, right? The soul is gone, 23 minutes in. That would have been a critical steal had they been able to get it. We have to remember there's no guarantee he would have. And they did lose that fight previously, to it. Bjergsen got taken out. They were trying to fight their way out of it, but Doublelift and Biofrost were very low, so it was mostly on Spica and Broken Blade. Let's watch this one more time. So it hits the dragon, and he wants to go in, and that is just straight up. Yeah, I mean, that is just straight up a miscommunication. That looks so troll. Right as your jungler is blast coning in after hitting the spear, and he's going to look, he even has flash. So he could even flash smite Q for a really big amount of burst there. I don't know if he would have got it, but he would have had a shot, which could have potentially had them in a much better spot in this game, because now they are at a big disadvantage.
2-level lead for Spica, Bjergsen feeding him a bit of XP. So the smite lead is there once again, Baron on the map. And I gotta point out again, because it is worth reiterating, Dragon Soul is not guaranteed win. It is certainly effective. It is certainly helpful. It's more damage. You never turn this one down. It's obviously useful. But look, if you're gonna one-shot Bjergsen anyway, in a stun combo, it doesn't do all that much at the end of the day. If they're one-shotting you, it's offensive stats, not durability. There's a chance here as well. They're trying to now play around the vision, going again for this Baron, going to try to burn this one down. Broken Blade is in the side lane with teleport up, and Golden Guardians just dealing damage, still burning it down, bleeding through the opposing trinkets. TP not yet used by Renekton as huhi burns the movement speed, tries to go in. Again, 2-level lead for Spica, and here comes Broken Blade on the fight. He's there now, TP used, and that is all they're going to get for it. A wave crash in the bottom lane. TSM have control over mid. I mean, the rotations don't change because of Infernal Soul. Only the team fight damage does. So TSM ready to push in and look for more turrets.
I mean, something that you were talking about in some of the earlier games in this series is essentially just the equating of a soul to gold, right? And I think that with Infernal Soul, it's the easiest one-to-one kind of thing, with just saying it's like, this is essentially just equal to extra AP or extra AD. It is essentially a Luden's proc on top for all these different champions. That is very valuable, but it can be understood very easily by saying it's like, oh, that's 800 or 1,000 or whatever gold worth of damage. So it is surmountable, right? To your point, if you miss position, if you get it out executed, if someone gets picked off, that doesn't always make the difference. That being said, you add a couple thousand extra gold onto the lead here for Golden Guardians. That is looking very good. You consider the 4 dragons worth of stats, an additional for Golden Guardians. That is also very good. TSM, though, looking for an angle here on FBI. Not going to be able to find it, as there was a ward in that side brush.
And TSM have control of the top river again. They can, force face checks. You're seeing the Sentinel come through from the Kalista. Biofrost is going to walk around to the side. It's going to get autoed once, going to get autoed twice. Doublelift gets 10 gold, but there is no vision whatsoever anywhere near the Baron pit. Thankfully for them, there is a ward that shows 3 of TSM. They know what's happening. They're going for Bjergsen. Here comes the fight. Closer going to kite right back out. They find a hook on a Bard. Not the ideal target, but a big stun means they might force the ulti, and he's not going to revive him. That is a 1 for 0. That is Tempered Fate and Fate's Call. Thrown in, and they're not going to find the hook just yet, but they do still get that kill. And a stun from long range puts Closer at 200 health. No follow through. Wouldn't have been a good play for Spica. He would die for that jump. He might not even gotten the kill because Closer could flash out of the pounce.
But at the very least, they push Golden Guardians back. So if you just lose the support and they can't actually go towards the Baron, it's not that big of a deal. But Biofrost has got to be careful about his positioning. He has been picked off a lot of times in this game before objectives, before major fights. And TSM now moving over to this Baron. There's no vision in the area. They're starting this up. FBI's on a recall timing. Golden Guardians have no idea. We'll see if Closer even goes over here to actually check. He is running over. They're going to be able to find out now. So yeah, we'll have to be backing off.
The persistent damage is just so low, honestly. Doublelift is on 1.5 items, because Hurricane, you're itemizing for the AoE damage. The single target, it's fine. It's a bunch of attack speed, but you just don't burn it down fast enough. You're missing Bard for some healing, and end of the day, yeah, one of your damage sources actually has to tank Baron, and thus deal half damage. Either Renekton or the Nidalee is going to deal half damage there. So end of the day, Blue Trinket saves the day, and look at this, Elder Dragon, it's up in 40 seconds. We've seen Golden Guardians, I think 3 times in a row, find a single pick and get out safely, and that has led to map control each time.
And critically, FBI has those 3 items I was talking about. Death Dance just completed right in the nick of time here. He has gotten 3 items, the Infernal Soul, and they are potentially able to threaten the Elder. They are moving up towards the Baron, and this can get complicated on the trades here, because if one team takes Baron and the other team takes Elder, the Baron team can back off and just try to play defensively because that buff lasts longer. So you always have to consider the possibility of the trade and also of the Kalista Spears for the securing of an objective here. Hauntzer, I'm not sure if they spotted. If they fetch check this, this could be
they had the ward. He finds some damage. It gets healed right back up. Spica's safe. Closer can't find the way in. He's got to be careful. He's getting slowed down. This could be a potential play. Broken Blade building up the rage, hitting the wave in the mid lane. Blast Plant knocked off. Blue buff crucially timed. Goes to Damonte. Closer is missing some health. He's only at 1,500 though, and he starts the Elder Dragon. They're going to start this play. Trinket's used to watch for a flank. No one's down there. Broken Blade waiting in the jungle, waiting for the play. Once again, hits this red buff to get some more damage across, finds his stun, finds damage on a Hauntzer, and that man has to be careful on Kennen. 8,000 health on the Elder, and Closer forced to ult away from Bjergsen. This is not easy for Golden Guardians. They don't have the flank. They don't really have the plays right now, as the Elder Dragon resets and pushes back towards TSM.
And look at the waves for TSM. They have top and bot pushing. Mid is fairly neutral. It looks like it will slowly push towards Golden Guardians, but Damonte's going to go fix that. So Broken Blade's still trying to heal up off this. Bjergsen has actually gone to bot lane to try to get the push going. Broken Blade is now shoved out, though, so he's got to get access to something to heal off, and this is going on for a long time.
Mid shoved in. That's going to crash into the turret, but Bjergsen gets the turret kill. So now we begin again on the Dragon Dance. And of course, you burn the Elder Soul while hitting the Elder itself, so you don't always get everything you want. There's the flash. There's the play with Doublelift. They try to catch him. With Fate's Call, they catch him. This could be the kill, but you got to be careful of the re-engage from Hauntzer there as well. Is it going to be enough as the revives come through? Damonte knocks down Bjergsen, and they're going to find a second.
Broken Blade!
So far. Broken Blade running over this game right now. Closer going to be next. He tries to journey away. It's not going to be enough. Dragon Soul be damned. TSM win the fight. They're going for the base.
Broken Blade's TPing in. They want to close this out. Broken Blade got in the middle of everyone. The Renekton running over the fight. I don't think they have the minions to do this. I think it was an overeager call. They need to go back to this Elder.
Get the turret at least.
We'll see if they're going to go for it. Yeah, but then you risk the TPs coming through. Hauntzer and Damonte both have TPs, so they're going to get the tower. They are going to back it off. That seemed like they got a little bit excited there. Potentially thought they could end the game. We'll see if they can secure the Elder here for themselves, because if you can get the Elder, you can then posture around the Baron and try to get that Baron utilizing this buff. But, I mean, this is getting dicey. Hauntzer's up in 3 seconds, and will have TP. We'll see if he comes.
TP coming in for Bjergsen, though, as well. The only one not here right away is Spica. Bring it down pretty quickly. Bjergsen's there for the 4-on-0. And TSM did their homework. They did the math. They did the calculations. They said, we have enough time for the bottom inhibitor turret and enough time for Elder Dragon. And TSM, with a 3,000 gold lead, are wearing the Elder buff.
Oh my god, what an insane game. Golden Guardians and TSM so evenly matched in this series. But with that Elder Dragon, I don't know if Golden Guardians can contest at the Baron. So let's watch this one more time. This was a couple minutes in the making, and the initial engage, so big here as they flash in. The Fates call, huhi pulls in Doublelift and Hauntzer from the side, flashing on top, getting multiple members in here, but the stopwatch from Spica absorbed a lot of that. Bjergsen is fairly tanky. Doublelift gets revived, and look at the AoE coming through from Doublelift, from Broken Blade, getting in the midst of the team with the ultimate popped, cleaving everyone down. They got absolutely shredded, and TSM pulling this game back from the brink of defeat. If you lose that fight, you lose the soul plus the Elder. There's no way you can contest the Baron, and now it feels like the shoe is on the other foot, and TSM have this 130 window to take the Baron while they still have Elder.
Broken Blade really can't die in this composition, at least if they're hard diving onto Doublelift. He's going to have a lot of free time to go for the auto. So Elder buff is on for a minute 15. 8,000 health left on this Baron, and it's going down fast. Ashe now on 3 items, has plenty of damage output here. Will they contest? Closer will have to ult in for it, puts a new ward down, and of course he can Lantern out as well. 3k health. Lantern can get vision. They've got to try for this play. They absolutely must, I think, have to try for the steal, and they're trying to bait it around. They're trying to play around the vision. Bartle comes in. It's gonna be stolen. It's Tanner time, and it's not time for Golden Guardians to lose just yet.
Damonte steals it away. Closer immune to the Bard ultimate with his own ultimate, but didn't even get the smite off. We gotta watch this one more time as Golden Guardian stealing it away. Spica cannot come up with the smite. He's level 15 on the Nidalee, has the Q execute, but cannot time it right. Here it is one more time. Bard ulti gets thrown over, so it's a good thought. The idea is hit the Bard ult, then burst it down, but they go in, and it is the Scatter the Weak coming across the W as well from Damonte. Level 16, burst it down. Spica cannot time it right. And that may have gotten Golden Guardians what they need here to get control of the game again, because the Elder buff has now expired. That was TSM's only advantage with that buff, was to be able to take the Baron. And they had positioning. Golden Guardians couldn't fight them, but it came down to that smite steal attempt, and Damonte, what a monster play.
All right, power play. Golden Guardians. Arrow's going to land. They need the Lantern. They need to get him safe.
Oh,
they still find the stun through Bard, but he's still alive, and he has Guardian Angel anyway. Re-engage isn't good. The squad coming around. FBI a bit low, burns the heal. Huhi going to stay safe. Ulti's down in a lot of cases right there, and there's not much of a re-engage. Bjergsen is just such a menace on the Zilean, cutting in and out, finding the slows, finding the CC. And of course, you can never burst one TSM member down because Bjergsen will revive them. So there's nothing to be done here. Golden Guardians have to sit and wait, and the longer you have to wait, the worse it could be. Nice Sonias by Spica, not going to be easy target. They'll find a stun, no. Looks like Scatter the Weak was down for the time, and there's nothing to be had right there. So TSM can say, you know what, you have Baron, but look at this, TSM are taking over the jungle. The Dragon Soul, I keep getting it wrong. The Dragon Soul clearly not scaring TSM in any way. They're ready to take those fights as they need. Their front line healthy.
But they're mispositioned here. They're kind of cut off on the side, the Baron minions. So TSM has got to get back into the base and try to defend this inhibitor tower, because it's going to go down so quick. Doublelift on the side, though. He doesn't have his ultimate quite yet. FBI is getting flanked by Broken Blade.
They got to CC chain this guy. They got to do a lot. There's a stopwatch. There's Tempered Fate building a lot of time, and they're going for huhi. He could be an easy target. He's stunned up in place, and they can't save him. So back in goes Kennen. Looks for the stun. Looks for Biofrost. One hit would kill him, but he can't die. Broken Blade safe from the side. Broken Blade finds the kill on Damonte, and it's time to run away. The revive on Renekton. Not an easy kill. Spica. FBI wants in, but he runs it down in mid and gets stunned up and killed. A Lantern to buy some safety. It's not gonna be enough. It's 2 unanswered kills for TSM.
FBI open up, but this time it's your base as he flashed in, loses the GA, loses his life, and with a 45-second res timer and a teleport coming in from Bjergsen here, they are gonna push in and try to catch Hauntzer.
And they might get a lot here. Bjergsen forces out the first flash. They're going to find some bit more damage. Closes in danger. Going to find a stun. Looks for a Lantern. Cannot get out. And that might just be the play that closed the playoff loop. TSM ready to push in. They are pushing in forward. 15 seconds, 10 now on Damonte, 20 on FBI. Somehow a 2v5 defense must be the play, and it simply cannot happen. We bid farewell to Golden Guardians, and TSM are just 3 wins away from making it back to Worlds with a date with Cloud9.
The reverse sweep happens for TSM. They pull it back against the Soul. They lose one game with the Ocean Soul, but they make Golden Guardians pay, taking him down with that Infernal Soul. Despite the Baron steal, TSM team fighting their way out of it and will keep their world's hopes alive. But oh man, FBI, that play is going to be one he remembers for the rest of his life.
Yeah, definitely some choking going on there on the Golden Guardian side, but hey, TSM, well done. The first 2 games you lost and it looked really bad. The first series you played, it was a 0-3. I saw a lot of fans in my Twitter mentions giving up on TSM. Oh, this team is trash, rebuild the whole roster, but they stuck it through. Biofrost back in here in the playoff run, and they made the reverse sweep happen. They got the 3 in a row they needed. And after such a rough early game where bot was getting camped, they won through Broken Blade at the top side and a well-deserved victory at the end of the day.
Yeah, you can't take anything away from them. The mental fortitude there, I thought they were going to be done after game 2, where they had the Ocean Soul, where they had outscaled Golden Guardians, and Golden Guardians fought their way out of it and took them down. I was thinking, all right, that's it. They're getting swept out. This is 6 straight wins for Golden Guardians, and TSM is done. But TSM regrouped. They adjusted in the draft. They started banning out the Caitlyn. Their bot lane held up in the 2v2 much better than in the previous series. I think this last game was the toughest one for them, with Biofrost getting picked off a number of times and the jungle attention. But overall, strong showing down there in the bottom lane, and they were able to make those adjustments and depend on some incredible play, I think, from Bjergsen throughout this entire series to create opportunities for TSM to win from what would be, very difficult situations.
Yeah, it felt like solo lane difference was a really, really big deal here for TSM overall. Broken Blade seems to get some level of a playoff buff. I still think back to the reverse sweep that TL put over these guys back in their first split, back when they had Sven on that roster, and it was so close to being the win. That man was smurfing in the first 2 games of that final, when he first joined TSM. This time around, he got a couple of really, really good matchups, and he was absolutely demolishing. They said, you know what? We're not going to let you play Shen. No safe matchups. Play a fighter up against me. And Broken Blade constantly found really, really good engages. He won his lane time and again. When they gave him resources, he paid them off in team fights. Bjergsen, obviously, some really good performances as well, nearly carrying the first couple of games. Huge in game 3 on the Azir. And the Zilean, at the end of the day, countered a lot of the composition. There were no one-shots available when the whole team dove on Doublelift at that bot side dragon fight that was for Elder Dragon. Gets Zilean revived. They might kill off Bjergsen, but that's okay because Double's back and Broken Blade's killing everyone, and it was an ace for 2, despite the first one getting revived.
He makes it look so easy to land the stuns on Zilean, and it is really not that easy. It makes it look like it's a point and click. He is consistently landing those. He almost never will miss a revive timing on his ultimate. He is insanely precise with that. His Orianna game as well was incredible, holding the ultimate, it felt like, for the perfect time pretty much in every single game. Bjergsen really is in form these days, and TSM have got to be very thankful for their team captain, for him to be stepping up like he was, or I don't think this type of reverse sweep would be even remotely possible. But on the other side, Golden Guardians still should be extremely proud of the year that they have turned in. They pushed TSM to 5 in this. They 3-0'd TSM in the upper bracket. They have done miles better than they ever have before, and they have some young and incredibly promising players in Closer and FBI, and in the resurgence of huhi. Damonte and Hauntzer playing really, really well overall as well. This is a team that has a lot of promise, and I think should be proud of what they've done.
Yeah, 5th place regular season, roughly 5th place playoff ending here as well. Top half of the league is an improvement for what Golden Guardians did in the first couple of years. That is steady improvement. I like these players. They are really good. They needed that little bit more, obviously, to fight for Worlds. They couldn't quite turn it in, but still, looking at their origins, I think Golden Guardians has still been up and to the right year over year. So good job to them. But of course, farewell until 2021. Now we are heading to a quick break, but after we're going to have Tigress and Doublelift for a Verizon post-game interview. So don't go anywhere.
Welcome back, everyone, to the LCS. After an all-too-familiar matchup against Golden Guardians, TSM walk away with a different result this time. Here in the Verizon post-game interview, I am joined by Doublelift. First things first, what do you think was key from turning that from what was looking like a 3-0 to a reverse sweep?
What was key? I think number one is we stopped focusing on our mistakes as much as what we need to do proactively, what we need to like make plans for and things like that. We were actually a bit scrambled in the first two games because I feel like we were in a lot of winning positions, and even one of the games I think we had Ocean Soul and we like fumbled the ending, and it's because we're just afraid of throwing. We're not being proactive. I feel like we're not on champions that we're comfortable with to be proactive with. So in the rest of the series, I just thought, and I told the team, I think we should play comfort. It does, regardless of matchup, because I know that we're skilled enough to play hard matchups. And on top of that, I think I was sick of trading the Ashe Caitlyn matchup. That is a matchup where I felt like was my specialty and that I've been winning consistently for my entire career on both sides. But FBI is honestly a really, really strong player, and he knows how to play the matchup better than me on both sides. And so that's probably the first time that I truly felt like I was just like being outperformed in a matchup that I have every right to be better than him in. And so we eliminated that and started playing, I guess, spicier matchups, more kill pressure matchups. But their bot lane is definitely the strongest point of the team. And I think the fact that we were able to switch the matchups around a bit just kind of changed the dynamic.
And it is very clear to a lot of people that the bot lane is a huge source of power for Golden Guardians. And diving into that a bit more, you're talking about bringing comfort in terms of picks, but it's also scary to bring in a substitution when you're going against a strong lane opponent like that. What was the benefit of bringing in Biofrost here to get you feeling more comfortable in these matchups potentially?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just, I feel a lot more comfortable playing with Bio in lane, because I feel like we're just always in sync and always on the same page. And a lot of times I don't even really need to communicate with him. I know what he's thinking and where he wants to ward and when he wants to go all in, and that kind of stuff is built over months and months of playing together. That kind of chemistry. And I played with him for over a year plus now. And I think right now his champion pool just kind of fits my champion pool a little bit better because he's incredibly skilled at playing Bard and Recon and tons of other champions as well. But we went back and forth on drafting and like which set of specialty champions between the players would fit better. But basically, it just boiled down to I wanted to be more comfortable in lane because their bottom lane is really strong. I would say Golden Guardians might have the best or one of the best. I would just say they might be the best ball lane in LCS, and it's a real shame that they got knocked out because they were like really outperforming TL's bot lane. Like they were 2v2 killing TL's bot lane consistently in the third game, and they're hard to lane against, and I didn't want to be a weak link, so that was the main reason.
I think that's one of the things that made this series so interesting from a spectating perspective is both teams showing that prowess. And you just said that you didn't want to be a weak link for this team. And there's a lot of pressure felt by you and the remaining members, whether you stating what this might be for your career or the fact that you all want to get Bjergsen to Worlds when he's performing at this caliber. How have you all as a team been channeling these different type of pressures that you have been experiencing when going through the lower bracket and what has been kind of a wavering run for TSM?
I guess everyone deals with the pressure differently. Like, to be honest, our team was going through a bit of a slump. We were feeling really depressed, and the pressure was really high because, as you guys know, like making a mid-playoffs roster change is really, honestly, it's kind of crazy. Like, what we're doing is really crazy. We're on elimination point in playoffs, and we just like don't know what the best decisions are. We're always conflicted, and practice can be hit or miss. So I was feeling a lot of pressure, and I was feeling probably the most stress I've ever felt in my entire life because I just didn't know what I wanted to play, like what my playstyle was, what the team's playstyle was. Like I just really didn't want to lose, because if this was the end of our playoffs run, if today was the last day that I could have played for the year, like, I don't really know what that means, you know? Like, am I gonna like lose my job? Am I like, I don't know what that means for the rest of my life. Like, it's honestly so depressing to think about potentially not making Worlds and playing on a team with Bjergsen, who's like absolutely smurfing almost every single game and not being able to step up to the plate and like take that situation to Worlds. So yeah, I was struggling a lot internally, but I didn't let my teammates know, I guess, because you always want to show confidence and kind of show that you're level-headed and calm about things. But I think we're all definitely going through a tough time up to this. The pressure was really high. And I'm really, really glad that we were able to reverse sweep. You know, as soon as they went to game 5, I knew, even though the enemy team got Ocean Soul, I knew we were going to win. Like, I just know. It was like so certain to me that we were going to win. It didn't matter like how bad the game was looking. I don't know. There's something about these long series. But before then, I was sweating pretty hard.
And I think that sweat and that pressure is extremely justified. A lot have been talking about this split and the difficulty when looking at the teams and how everyone is facing off against one another. And on the positive side of this, you've expressed in the past maybe some of the charging that you get from the underdog mentality. And going into this next matchup, hate to say it, that pressure isn't going to be alleviated as Cloud9 are your next opponents. Sven down in the bot lane. Maybe following off of this momentum and this sentiment that you're saying you knew in game 5 that you were going to win it, how are you feeling going into this next matchup, the last one to stand behind you and a Worlds qualification?
I feel a little bit like relieved that it's Cloud9. I would rather play them than FlyQuest or TL. I feel like I can play a little bit more relaxed. I don't want to throw shade at Sven or anything, but I think FBI is a level above most of the other AD carries, the top AD carries. He plays lane really well. So I feel another week for us to gel is really important because really we're almost doubling the amount of time that we've played with this roster. If you think about it, like, cause we've been practicing with Bio for like 4 days. And having that extra week is going to be so important for us to improve. And I feel like off of this win, we can really like catapult our progress as a team. And I feel good, you know. I feel Golden Guardians is a really hard matchup for us. So I feel a lot better about Cloud9.
A bit more time before the next matchup and quite a different opponent ahead. Doublelift, thank you so much for taking the time after a long series that you just had.
Thanks.
And everybody, with a reverse sweep, Golden Guardians fans weep as TSM continue through with a hard-fought victory and keep their hopes alive here in the lower bracket. For more on this match, let's go ahead and head over to the Bud Light breakdown.
Thank you very much, the Tigers. Doublelift said when he saw that it was going to Game 5, he knew. He was confident they were going to get it. Two of you were confident as well, right? Crumbs, Mark, you with the calling it on the flip-flop there for Game 5.
Blue side strats, momentum, the draft.
Liars. They were sweating the whole time.
No. As soon as they lost the Infernal Soul, I was like, TSM have this. As soon as they lost
what it was. That's when you know. Yeah,
we knew when Mark said God was with TSM side. Like, come on, we have to take that side.
Yeah.
I mean, what a way to close out 4 straight days of playoff action with a full 5-game series in an elimination best-of-5 between 2 teams in a rematch. Golden Guardians setting it up for the sweep with the first 2, and then TSM striking back 3 in a row. Mark, reverse sweep.
Yeah, and this is why Doublelift sounds scarred talking about FBI. He had a lot of respect for him, and it's because that was where Golden Guardians' game plan was focused. I mean, as
12
much as
health,
the
by the way.
bands, yeah, Jesus. As close as as many of the bands went mid, and the focus was trying to limit Bjergsen. So much of the actual in-game focus was around playing through bot side, and Doublelift and Biofrost are under attack the entire series, and they were able to weather it. And the Ashe pick was huge for them.
So this was the moment right here, right? Picking up Soul. There it is.
That's when we knew.
That's when you were happy when Spica dies and doesn't get the smite. That's when you got happy.
That's when you know TSM's got the game. This was it. This was it, right? Right around the Elder. Got to mark those flankers here. Hauntzer looking for a flank of his own means that the Renekton is just going to get a free passage towards the team fight.
And this was a really good play by Biofrost. We didn't really notice it too much, but he actually throws his ult at Kalista while the fight starts. So this forces Kalista to flash into the fight. So by the time the Renekton flank comes in, he has such an easy time to get to Kalista, and also Zilean was actually able to land a
Oh.
double bomb on this flashless
Dude,
Kalista.
This is so good.
Oh, this was
was
so clean.
so good. This
So
is a
clean.
play that if Golden Guardians just makes a highlight reel for their entire history as an organization, this is at the top.
Oh my God. Just literally every aspect of this.
Yeah, even the lantern out.
The ult
coming in.
unbreakable, layering the damage, sidestep, the Syndra sidestep the Bartle,
no.
and then as you mentioned, the lantern out on the end.
Oh no.
Oh,
no.
baby.
FBI had such a good series until this point.
I mean, I'd still say he had such a good series. I
Yeah,
recognize
I
that
just
this
mean
was
this
a
is
misstep,
the
right?
thing-
But like,
The thing we respect most about him is his aggressive play, and he's willing to take risks and flash in. And this is a fight that was neck and neck. They kind of bait people in at first, and then
if he had gotten the rend on the Bard there, maybe this whole fight goes differently.
but then they get the ult out of Bjergsen onto Hauntzer, and he says, I can go in here, I can finish some people off. But the
Stun.
Bard Q landing on the minion and then snapping onto him was so
Huge.
brutal. And, I mean, I saw what he saw. I thought it was going to be a good play, but just the instant CC and good follow-up by Doublelift landing the arrow as soon as it went in. He probably would have been hit by that arrow to begin with, so maybe lost track of some of the ults used in that team fight. That's always the hardest part in these messy 5-game series, back-and-forth team fights. Keeping track of every spell cooldown can be quite difficult.
Surprise, excitement, relief on the side of TSM, frustration,
Oof.
sadness on the side of Golden Guardians. It was a hard-fought series. These guys had TSM's number all split long until these final games here. And as you mentioned, that final play from FBI, something he's going to replay in his mind for a very long time. But that is where I do want to return to the conversation that was had with Doublelift just moments ago. The amount of praise that he threw to that Golden Guardians bot lane, saying perhaps the best bot lane in the entire region. It's pretty wild to think that the best bot lane in the region wouldn't be making top 3 and representing us at Worlds, but something to hang your hat on that you performed that well and you made the perennial best AD carry in the region give you that kind of props on your send-off.
I mean, I know we love to praise FBI, but to me, the story is even greater for huhi. This guy was seemingly without any prospects, any future in the mid lane, turns to a support and is now being heralded as the best bottom lane by Doublelift alongside FBI. That is just an amazing role swap. One of the best that I've ever seen.
So while it may sting in the moment, I think Golden Guardians as an organization and that squad can hold their heads high for an incredible season, putting up their best results to date. I do want to look back on the day, though, gentlemen. Our player of the series here has to go to Bjergsen, the man in the mid lane who was banned too many times to count, and yet he still found answers every time and ends it on the signature Zilean.
Yeah, I went back and I checked all 5 games. There were only 3 bans that could have gone to him that didn't. Golden Guardians started banning out the set and whatnot, and Bjergsen showed why he received so many bans over the course of the series. He was able to make some monstrous plays, especially in the back half. His Azir was great, his Zilean's great, and I have to say, as great as he was, other people started to step up when they started turning the series around. Bjergsen, I think, was pretty consistent throughout, but Broken Blade as well had a fantastic series. I know some people were throwing some votes to him as well, but still have to give it to Bjergsen.
He's just so deadly on that pick, and you can't really ban it every single time because he doesn't bust it out that often. It's very niche, and then he plays it in the most important game, of course, the moment that you don't ban it, and you know he's going to deliver. And he was a huge enabler for Broken Blade. I know Bjergsen played really well, but during the wins, Broken Blade was really important as well, especially that Renekton game. The Renekton-Zilean combination did a lot of work, and it's why you had the Zilean. You need other carries to make the Zilean stand out.
Yeah, I think when Doublelift said, when they got to Game 5, he had a whole bunch of confidence that they're going to win it.
You know where
I
it's coming
think that confidence came from the Zilean pick. As soon as you saw that, that's when I was like, can I change my vote now to TSM? Because in a long game, in these terribly, terribly extended series, Zilean is such a king. He's so great at these long team fights, these really not aggressive early games. That's where Zilean wants to live. And Bjergsen's our best Zilean player. So once he got it, I knew this game was going to be hard. There's going to be some bombs that no one else will see. And then the Bard synergy where you can double bomb on top of the stasis. Oh, so great.
It should be noted, Mark, as you mentioned, it was a contentious vote this time around. 2 votes to Broken Blade, 3 votes to Bjergsen when it comes to player of the series. So that does speak to, again, the importance of every player on TSM and how each of them at different moments did have, a game-winning or a series-saving play. But all in all, because of that focus that was applied to Bjergsen, because we know that the Golden Guardians game plan was keeping him down, just that much more goes to the camp of Bjergsen.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, he was able to absorb so much pressure in the draft that allowed other picks to go through for his teammates. I think that deserves a lot of credit that is going to be unseen. You can't put a value on how much draft pressure you're absorbing. There's not really a great way to appreciate that. But knowing that your entire champ pool, as someone else, is always available because you're playing with Bjergsen feels pretty nice.
Yeah, I mean, just on that point, Mark, think if they had a free ban or two, they would have probably banned the Renekton or the Nidalee because they're not playing either on Golden Guardian side, but they can't because they have to ban out Bjergsen. So the Renekton Nidalee comes out 2 games in a row and they get wins on it both times. That's the kind of draft power you have when you have such a strong player.
And that's where, again, I'll call back to some of those adjustments TSM made, not allowing 5 bans in some games going the way of Bjergsen, picking earlier to make sure he gets on something that they want. That TSM victory, though, does mean that we are one step closer to finding out who our Summer Split champions will be as we take a look at our bracket here. Moving along in that elimination match to face Cloud9. Winner of that will slot on up to face the loser, of course, of Team Liquid versus FlyQuest. But again, just one more elimination match to go to determine our third and final team that goes to Worlds.
It's only bangers from here on out, Dash. It's just going to be really tight games because I think all teams can take games off of each other at this point.
We came in today saying that all 3 teams in the lower bracket have a legitimate shot to claw their way back out of it. Now we're down to 2, but I would have to assume that today's results don't necessarily sway anyone one way or the other on a TSM Cloud9 series.
No, I mean, I definitely agree with what some of Doublelift was saying about Golden Guardians being a really tough matchup for them. He was talking about, just the strength of their bot lane, how much they throw bans at Bjergsen. And against C9, you wonder if they're going to do the same thing because, I kind of side with Doublelift a little bit when he's saying that he doesn't think Sven and Vulcan will cause quite as much trouble as they had to deal with in this series. And I think that could maybe free them up to be able to be more aggressive in their own bot lane.
Yeah, famous last words there. All right, we'll return on Saturday to witness Cloud9 and TSM battle it out for the final spot at Worlds and our finals weekend. Then on Sunday, we've got the upper bracket finals between Team Liquid and FlyQuest. Do not forget, though, to join myself, Crumbs the Tigress, and Immortal's very own Apollo for the Bud Light League Lounge at twitch.tv/BudLight in just a few minutes. With that, though, we're going to be concluding our day here on the LCS. So from all of us here on the show, on behalf of myself, the casters, the entire remote broadcast crew, thank you so much for watching. We'll see you over at the Bud Light League Lounge on twitch.tv/BudLight. Good night.